Hey everyone, how you guys doing today? So, real quick question I get a lot these days is what is my prediction for real estate as we head into 2020? And if you've been following this channel for any length of time, it's pretty clear. I think we're at the top of the market in most markets. There's a pretty good chance that the high price markets are going to be in for a downfall. So, I feel pretty confident about that. But a question I keep getting is, what do you think about 2020, and should I be waiting on the sidelines to buy, and all of these various things. So, I thought I would just do a video and kind of share with you how I think about a changing market and the things that I look for. So, really, I try to answer a couple of questions. What is first and foremost going to happen to owner occupant buyers? And the reason I start there is owner occupant buyers really dominate the market from a transaction perspective. And if they're excited, we're entering a seller's market where anything will sell. If they're afraid, it's they disappear, and they disappear in droves. And when that happens, you really can make some significant headway as an investor. So the first thing to watch for is owner occupant buyers. I do believe we're in for a bump in the economic cycle. I just can't see how this 10 or 11 year boom can keep going much longer. So when that turns, I do think owner occupants are going to get nervous. I think they're going to be reading about layoffs and all of these things. And I don't actually think interest rates being lower is going to help. I think it will help refinancing. I hope it will do some of those things, but I don't think a nervous owner occupant is going to buy because the interest rate is 2 instead of 4, right? So again, first and foremost, I look at the owner occupants, and frankly, it's why I do my daily financial videos, is because I'm always trying to get a feel for what's going on at the consumer level, right? That's what I'm always looking for. So that's what's going to happen to the owner occupants. The next is, what about investors, right? Because there is some talk, or there might be some thinking that, hey, great, the owner occupants disappear. Can't investors just come in and soak up the demand, and everything keeps going? Well, I think a couple of things are going to happen to investors. First, there's a lot of investors who have been in the market for less than 5 years that have only known the best of times. Some of them today are overpaying. They are too levered, and they are going to start losing, right? They're going to start taking losses. They're going to start not being able to pay back hard money lenders, and it is going to be painful for some of them. Some of them will be washed out of the business. This happens at every turn. People get a little overconfident. They just try to squeak out one or two more deals. They add inventory at the wrong time, and it just blows up. So I believe some investors, some of the people on YouTube and Facebook and all of these things that look like they've got it solved or they got it made, they won't be around in 18 months, in my opinion, right? They're going to have to lick their wounds and start over. And I think they'll be better for it, because going through a down cycle and surviving is hard to do. And we have done that because we're so conservative in all of that. So I think there are some people that today are successful that won't be thought of as successful in another year. The other thing that happens to investors is, I don't know what percentage of them, but let's just say half. Half the people today that tell me they're going to buy when the market turns just simply won't. And I saw that last time. And they won't for lots of probably valid reasons. Some of them will lose their jobs. And what they had as a nest egg set aside to buy an investment they'll need to feel comfortable. Others will be so frightened by the daily headlines that they just decide not to invest in, because it's like catching a falling knife, and all of those things that you will hear. So I think there will be a lot less investors, and just like there's a lot less owner occupant buyers. And again, I say this with some history and experience. Then what about lending? I think lending will both get easier and harder, and this is what I mean. Today, a lot of the buyers out there are getting 90 or 100% financing on their fix and flips and their wholesale deals. I believe hard money is probably easiest to get today, but once they start suffering losses next year, they are going to be a lot less interested in feeding that, and they're going to start requiring real down payments and all of these. They're going to require equity to get some of their cash. So I think getting hard money is going to be a lot more challenging. You're going to need a track record and all of that. But I do think banks are going to start being very aggressive and doing more things, especially as interest rates fall. They're going to want to buy the business. So guys like myself, perhaps, who has a lot of units, who has really been turned off to bank lending because they don't want to lend to people that have a fair amount of units. Maybe they come back to us and go, hey, we'll take your business now, and we'll lock in 30-year money at 2.8 or 3.1 or whatever it is. So I do see some upside for lending, but lending is something you're going to have to watch, because if lending dries up, then this thing gets really bad. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think lending will be fine, at least on assets with down payments. So in the end, I think high price markets, especially if we see unemployment go from like 4 to 6 or 4 to 8, are in trouble. The Bay Area being one of them for sure. I think sort of second tier cities, but when you're below the median, are going to be just fine, right? You can't build new inventory for prices in that part of the market. So I think that's fine. So I think 2020 is going to be a great time to really be an investor, because you're going to have less competition. Money will be available for quality deals. And I look forward to 2020. And what I would be doing now, if I was just starting out, is I would be researching my market. You need to figure out what the average deal produces in your market, so that you can find good and great deals, right? Saying that you're going to buy when something is on sale, but you can't tell me when it's on sale, doesn't make sense. So if you don't know how to do that, you can continue to look at YouTube University. I would ask you to look in the description below, because I do have an online course that is solely focused on helping people understand what a bad, average, good, and great deals are in your local market. I teach this because I think it's a skill. It's not something you're born with. I think it's a skill, and you can learn how to do it. And we wrote a book right there behind me, One Rental at a Time. You can get it on Amazon, that tells our entire story. 15-year journey through up, down, and back again. And everything we do in that book, I still use the same spreadsheet to compare deals today. The stuff that my students see and are in the private Facebook group are exactly what we're doing today to buy units, and what I think will be a great time to buy units in 2020. So I hope that makes sense. I get this question a lot, so now I can just point people to this video. Have a great day. Take care.